Atlanta News First Plus starts now with the First Alert Weather Day.
Hi friends, we want to give you a big update on the severe storms rolling through. They're pushing in now. There's nothing severe out there at this time, but these storms are really going to ramp up between now and 4 p.m. before we see a better evening. But I want to talk to you more about what's been going on this month, because we've seen so many tornadoes. I think Courtney talked to the National Weather Service. She said that there's been 16 confirmed tornadoes just this month in Central and North Georgia. That's more than we're supposed to see the entire year so far. So the ingredients that you need for tornadoes at its core, at its most basic level, is just a mixture of warm, humid air with cold, dry air. So basically a cold front brings that mixture. And then when those two air masses collide, it causes the air to rise and spin. And that's how we get rotation, which is how we get tornadoes. So a big way that we also see spin up tornadoes, or tornadoes in general, is wind shear, which is both directional shear and speed shear. So it's basically how fast winds are going at different levels in the atmosphere and the direction that they're going. And you have to have winds turning with height in order to get tornadoes. So when you have surface winds that are going one way and stronger upper level winds that are going just a slightly different direction, that's how you can get the spin up tornadoes. It causes a rotating column of air that then can turn vertically. And then that's when you get the wall cloud coming out of a thunderstorm, and eventually you get the tornado. So again, that thunderstorm updraft, so wind going in, basically parcels of air rise so quickly that that wind, that column, is able to turn and rotate, and then you start to see the wall cloud, which is the cloud that hangs very low to the ground. When you see that wall cloud, that is the first sign of a tornado. It means that that wind is bringing that low-level rotation down to the surface, and then you get the tornado coming out of that wall cloud. Really incredible, right? And we saw actually a confirmed tornado yesterday in Henry County. They're going to go out to assess that damage. I would say it was a EF0, EF1. It completely collapsed a home. It was only on the ground for a few minutes, but that just tells you that's all it takes to get substantial damage. Usually here in Georgia, we see EF0, EF1, sometimes EF2 tornadoes, which are between 110, 135 miles per hour. It is rare that we see EF3, EF4, EF5 tornadoes, especially here in North Georgia. We usually see the smaller scale, weaker tornadoes, but they can still do a lot of damage. And it's really interesting where the tornadoes form by month. So I want to take you through that. In the beginning of the year and the end of the year, so the cold months, the tornadoes are the most likely in the south. You can see Texas, Mississippi sees a lot of tornadoes in January. Your timestamp is up here. So in January, the south sees a lot of tornadoes. Again, think about that mixture of warm and cold air. So in the coldest months, the states that are going to have enough warm air to get tornadoes are along the basically along the Gulf Coast, okay? In February, believe it or not, Alabama sees the most tornadoes. Then March is a big severe weather month. Texas sees a ton, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and even Florida. You start to get some of the tornadoes in Tornado Alley in March, but it is really April that we see the warm air start to lift north enough to give us that outbreak. And April's the month where we see the greatest mixtures of warm and cold air, right? Spring is trying to take over from winter. That's the reason April is the biggest month for tornadoes, because of those boundaries of air masses colliding. Now by May, see how the tornado risk starts to move north. That's when the Midwest really sees the warm and cold air collide. And then once you get into the summer months, Texas hangs on to a lot of tornadoes. It's just such a big state, but you start to get Colorado mixing in, the high plains, Minnesota, believe it or not, and the Dakotas see a lot of tornadoes in the month of June and July. July, actually, Canada sees a lot of tornadoes. So North Dakota, Minnesota, we barely see any tornadoes in the south in the summer. You know why? It's just too hot. We can't get that cold air this far south. However, once we start entering into September, even though it stays hot, look at which areas see the most tornadoes. It is the southeast, the Carolinas, Florida, and Georgia. Why is that? Because of hurricanes. Hurricanes bring the spin in. So when you have hurricanes, it's a little bit different. So you don't need the boundary of warm and cold air because you already have the spin from the hurricane. So In the months of September, October, there's not many tornadoes that we see, but the ones that we do see are usually spin-off tornadoes from hurricanes that are making landfall. By October, it's still an influence of hurricanes, but we start to see that cooler air work its way south. And then back into November, that cool air works its way as far south that we see, once again, the return of the major tornadoes to be in the southeast. So we have the outbreak, the tornado alley, which everyone knows is usually the Midwest. But this secondary Dixie Alley here in the southeast in recent years has had actually more tornadoes than the original Midwest because it stays warmer here longer now. Looking at Georgia tornadoes themselves, by far our most active months are March, April, and May. This is the total tornadoes between 1950 and now. You can see April is by far our most active month, but May is not far behind. Usually May is a little bit less active than March. May was by far our most active month this year, which is a little abnormal, but it's still within the range. Now, as we head into the summer months again, that cold air moves north. We don't see many tornadoes. The ones that we do see are usually with the hurricanes in the latter part of the summer months. And then we get kind of the secondary, a small secondary severe weather season. At the end of the year and at the beginning of the year in winter, we can get some storm systems that bring us that rotation. So for today, we're seeing a cold front come in. So we have the ingredients in place, the mixture of cold and warm air, the boundary coming in. And right now, if we look at current radar, we are seeing some scattered storms up in North Georgia. I told you this all morning. These storms are going to gain strength significantly as they push south through the day today. We have our intern, Evan, here. He's going to track some of these storms for me. He is going to be graduating UGA, go Dogs, in December, Evan? With the atmospheric sciences degree, which is what I did about 10 years ago. So we're happy to have him here. We got him tracking Barron radar. So let's zoom in to northwest Georgia, Evan, and just show people where the storms are. Again, I'm only seeing a little bit of lightning. I'm not seeing anything severe. I don't see any organization with these storms. They're moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So we're going to put a track on these storms. Let's stop there we go. So we can see where they are. Again, some rain moving into Gilmer County. This is the leading edge of the cold front, guys. Some showers in Rome, Bartow County, moving into the mountains as well. So there you go. Evan's tracking these off to the east. They're moving at about 25 miles per hour. So again, this is the potential arrival time of the rain. I don't think we're going to see severe storms north of Atlanta, North Metro, over the next hour, okay? So Young Harris at 11:15, that's in about 7 minutes. Such as Georgia just before 11:30. Hiawassee at 11:24, Jasper 11:16. Again, this is just some scattered rain. So let's clear this off. And then let's see if we can, let's just see if we can see any hail in these storms. We were seeing hail as maybe a small risk. Yeah, so he has the hail, the hail detector on here. I'm not seeing any hail whatsoever. And the rotation detector, let's take a look at that. I'm actually going to take the, this banner off so that you guys can see better here. Okay, so look. So one of the best tools we have with this Barron radar is there's a tool here that's able to pick up on any rotation, and it will actually go through the storms, and if it's seen any rotation, it'll put it off as green, red, or extreme as yellow. We've tested this with actual tornadoes, and it's very accurate. You can see zero rotation right now in any of those storms. So again, I'm not concerned here now. But the thing is, these storms are going to gain strength as they push south. So let's take you through the Futurecast model and stop for you 1 p.m. Here's what I'm seeing. A little bit more organization as they move into North Metro, areas like Alpharetta, Milton, Marietta, Lawrenceville. I'm still not seeing a high severe potential just based on what this model is spitting out. I'm not seeing organization. I don't see any supercells. But then as this storm system moves south of the city, you start to see more organization, you start to see more supercell structure of these storms. So I really am thinking the areas east and south of Athens and Atlanta have the highest risk of severe weather today. That's what the Storm Prediction Center is also thinking. Look how these storms really bloom as they hit Augusta 4 or 5 p.m. So by 5 p.m., the strongest of the storms are south of us and we're in the clear. So this is just gonna be over the next 4 or 5 hours. Again, we're just really trying to warn you because we've been in such a stormy pattern that we think this probably is going to be a continuation of that. I have just updated the storm threats. I still think there's a moderate risk of damaging winds, a high risk of lightning. but a low end risk for a tornado today. What I'm seeing is a more linear structure to this storm system, not ruling out spin up tornadoes. I mean, we saw one yesterday and I'm gonna tell you, everything I looked at said, you're not gonna see any rotation. So all it takes is one storm, and we've been in this pattern of so many tornadoes lately that I do think we could see 1 or 2 warnings, again, south of the city. And let me give you an idea why. So this is the CAPE, the convective available potential energy. It's one of the main things that we look at that gives us an idea of where storms could pop to be severe, when there's enough instability in the atmosphere. So I want to take you hour by hour, but check out, this is what I'm talking about. 1 p.m., look at the CAPE, how it really blooms from Atlanta off to the east along I-20 areas south of the city. That is a lot of storm fuel. And it continues to even get higher. Edenton, I saw some pockets of 5, okay? So really a ton of storm fuel down by Lake Oconee, Macon, off to Augusta. That's the reason I think these storms are going to gain strength and become more severe as they're pushing south. I would tell you that the National Weather Service would have issued a severe thunderstorm watch by now if they thought these storms are going to be severe rolling into North Metro. They have not done that, so that gives me a little bit of ease of mind that we're not going to see widespread severe weather north of the city. But again, we're all under that level 2 risk of severe weather. It means scattered storms with damaging winds, isolated tornadoes possible. You can see the level 3 risk is out of our viewing area, which includes Augusta. It's just to the east of Macon, south and central eastern Georgia. That's where the risk for damaging winds will be the highest today. Again, guys, tonight, really after 5 p.m., man, you're good to go. It's going to be really nice outside, all right? It's going to be beautiful this evening. Sun comes back out. So keep your evening plans. And tonight, it'll be mostly clear and cooler. And coming up at noon, First Alert meteorologist J.D. Disharoon is going to talk about this beautiful weekend forecast. I mean, after today, thank goodness we can kiss goodbye to these May storms. We're going to enter into a much drier pattern just in time for June. We are going to see a little bit of rain on Sunday in the mountains, perhaps a few rumbles of thunder in North Metro late on Sunday. But other than that, it looks dry for the next several days. Summer takes over. The kids are finally going to be able to get out and go to the pool after today, okay? So we're going to be here. We have a team of 3 meteorologists here now, and we always have you covered. Anytime there is severe weather, we're always going to have a team here. We are watching the radar closely. If a tornado warning pops, we will be on as soon as that tornado warning pops. If not, you can tune in to Atlanta News First at noon. JD will be on, and then I will be doing another little update here on digital, ANF Plus on our streaming services at 1 p.m. We will see you at 2 p.m. and then our newscast starts at 3. We got you covered. You can stay safe and just keep your eyes in the skies. Download our First Alert Weather app too, guys. We'll be sending push alerts throughout the afternoon.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF Plus. You can also text weather to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.